Every single thing that I'm telling you in this video has been tried, it's been tested, and we've worked with hundreds of applicants, and I can tell you with over 250 approvals that we get every single year, the UK Tier 4 visa is going to be very easy for you to grasp if you just watch this video. For the next 10 to 15 minutes, give me your concentration and I assure you, you will have the best understanding of the Tier 4 visa. Let's start with the cost of the visa, shall we? The cost of the visa at the time of making this video is £348. That's basically the amount you spend and you give to the government to essentially basically grant you the visa, right? As you can understand, this part of the fee is just taken by the government and there are other fees associated with this process. Now, when you actually go to the United Kingdom, what you have to do is not only do you have to apply for the visa, but you also have to have health insurance. As you can understand, healthcare in the United Kingdom is very, very costly and you do not want to be found without a health insurance. And that's essentially what the IHS is. The immigration health surcharge is basically charged with your visa only, and this basically grants you some of those facilities to basically be able to avail some of the medical facilities essentially once you're in the UK and you basically need them. All right, now this is essentially, calculated. There's a way to calculate all of this, but on an average, I'll give you the average amount over here, guys. The average is 470 British pounds every single year. This is just for you. If you have dependents, there would be additional costs, of course, but yeah, this is basically for you. Now, of course, there are some other minor fees associated. You have to get some tests done, some medicals, some biometrics have to be done, etc., etc. These costs are pretty much lower as compared to most of these, so I'm not really including them right over here, but yes, there are some additional costs over here. So just in case you want to keep some overhead, you should keep maybe an overhead of 150 British pounds on this amount also. Great. Now I'm going to talk to you about the documents required for the process. We've covered the cost. Now we're going on to the documentation. All of the documentation that you will require for the entire process right over here, I'm going to tell you all of that in this list. Let's go over the documents one by one, shall we? The first thing you will always require is your passport. It is very important, of course, and if you don't have it, you should apply for it as soon as possible. Number two is your degree certificate, and this is of course only required if you have been graduated and you already have that with you. If you don't have it or you just graduated recently, it's not a mandate, don't worry about it. Number three, your transcripts. Very, very important over here. You should have official transcripts from your university, which basically come in a sealed envelope. Of course, without the number four, that is the CAS letter or CAS letter, you really can't get anywhere. That's basically your confirmation of admission for studies in the UK, and essentially what needs to be the first step for you to actually make your move to the United Kingdom. Next, you of course need an ELT score, that's English language test score, that is valid and accepted in the UK. I recommend the IELTS for that. The academic version, of course, since you're going for basically an academic program, right? Number six, you need your tuberculosis test report. As you can understand, TB test is one of the requirements mandated by the government of the UK. There are specific centers for it. You have to go ahead, you have to get the appointment from there, and then only you basically, after you get the result in 1 or 2 days, you can basically start the visa process. That's essentially one more requirement, guys. There's a unique ID proof required. For instance, depending on where you're from. For instance, if you're from the UAE, you will require an Emirates ID. If you're from India, you will require an Aadhaar card, right? If you're from some other country like the US, again, different documents apply for different people. We work with clients from over 55 countries, so we have a full list of those documents in general, but I'm pretty sure you already know what is your country's unique identity document, so you will need to have that. Next, you will require an accommodation booking. Now, this is not a mandatory thing, but this was a mandatory thing almost in the COVID times. It was almost required, otherwise there was a lot of rejections last year. But accommodation booking basically shows the university basically, essentially doing your credibility interview. Again, don't worry about it. If you don't know what it is, I'll talk about it. But you need to have that accommodation booking to actually show them that yes, you're actually going over there for these many days. You have already booked this. You have booked a hotel or you booked a stay over there, essentially to basically, get started with your stay in the UK, right? So that will be required, of course. Sometimes you can also have housing from the university, or you can have housing near the university. You can have a tenancy contract. All of these things, of course, do work. You don't have to get a hotel. And finally, you need to prove your finances. So proof of your finances in the form of accepted documents. Now, there are some documents that are accepted. There are some documents that are not accepted. So you need to have the ones that are accepted. Very, very important over here to understand this difference. And how much amount do you need to prove with these documents? Tuition plus living expenses. If you do not know the living expenses, don't worry, I built an average chart for you, but the tuition should of course be present on your CAS letter, which of course you will already have if you're starting the process now. Regardless, in terms of your living expenses, now it depends from place to place, but let's say that if you are staying in London, you should show around 12,000 British pounds, and if you're outside of London, you should be thinking of showing somewhere around 10,000 British pounds per annum for your stay in the UK. Now you can actually get much more accurate amounts though, so just in case you are going to any university, and you can actually type in the university name, but I'm just going to search by country, and I'm going to go to YMGrad.com, search for the UK, and let's say I want to check the living expenses for let's see, University of Edinburgh maybe, right? I'm going to go onto this page, I'm going to scroll down, and the living expenses over here are 16,440, but this is US dollars right now. We can convert it. We are going to add a conversion mechanism on the website directly over here, don't worry about it, but for now you're going to have to use Google. So this much USD to GBP, right? And let's see what Google has to say. So that's somewhere close to around 12,552. Again, even though this university is actually in Edinburgh, you actually have to show somewhere around 12,000. So again, I would highly recommend go ahead, use the website, and make sure that you have a more accurate kind of an amount that's very close to what you need to show. This is based on the success rates of a lot of students, so you can actually leverage that experience directly. All right, moving on, there is of course the UK credibility interview, one of the most daunting parts of the process, which basically usually and is almost always the reason for the rejection of any candidate. I'm going to teach you today exactly how you can surpass that rejection, exactly how you can make sure that your application gets accepted. So basically this is an interview that you have to give to show the UK, or essentially to show the university also, that you are coming to the university to study and not for the wrong reasons, okay? It's very similar to what you do in terms of other countries as well. In basically the US, you have the F1 visa interview, for instance, for students. In Canada, you have the SOP that you have to write and you have to explain all these things. In the UK, you have the credibility interview, right? It's very similar, but it's required for the most part, depending on which country you're from. Some countries are exempt from it, but most cases, if you're from India, if you're from, and most of our clients essentially, whichever countries they are from, they usually have to take the interview. So I'm making this video in regards to that, and I'll tell you exact questions, and I'll be giving the sample answers. Before we actually go over there though, I hope you understand I have to tell you about the service as well, just in case you're interested in working one-on-one directly with me and my team. That is possible. You have to go on to YMGrad.com/service. That's the link right over here. You go into the visa application help page. Now you see all the countries we cover right here. There's a lot more countries as well, but detailed description of course is present for UK right over here. And you can see the tier 4 visa, you have to have 30 points for your CAS, and then 10 points to show that you have the finances and you can basically stay in the UK, you can maintain yourself, right? And you have to get those 40 points to get the visa, right? And in our way, what we do is we basically help you end to end, right from determining the best possible route. There are some strategies that we have to employ to understand what is the best possible route for you. End to end application form filing, TB test scheduling, financial documentation. We give you a list of all the samples that work, and we help you build the actual financials based on those exact documents which have worked for hundreds and hundreds of clients. Then there's the IHS surcharge that you have to pay. We calculate it for you, and we help you file it and pay it, right? Then there's the ATAS approval. ATAS, those of you who do not know, it's required by some universities, some programs. Essentially, if you are going to study something that can be used in a military setting, or in basically some cutting edge research, essentially that can make one of the countries in the world a superpower. That's essentially very important knowledge, right? So for that, for something like that, you need an ATAS approval, and we also help with that just in case that is required. Then of course the online tier 4 application form filling outside of the UK, that's something that we do for you. Mock interview for the credibility interview, I'm going to do a little bit of that right over here, but of course I can't fit everything in. When we do it one-on-one, of course it's a lot more detailed. And of course biometric residence permit and BRP or registration with the police if required. All of that we take care with a dedicated representative. Whenever you need them, you can give us a call or message. All right, so that's something that you get in case you're interested. You can take a look at this page. But apart from that, if you're interested in doing it by yourself, regardless, I've told you most of it, and I'm going to start with the questions next, okay? So the UK credibility interview, what is it about? It's basically about telling the university that yes, I'm actually going to the UK to study and I do not have any other ulterior motives. The interview essentially lasts somewhere around 15 to 30 minutes, and it's essentially done over a video call. Now let's move on to the most commonly asked questions. Now I'm not able to cover all of these over here, but I'll try to cover as much as possible, and I'll try to train you as well as much as possible in this video, okay? So the number one question, of course, will almost always be, please brief us about yourself or tell us about yourself. So remember, when they ask you this question, you don't have to give them an answer right from you were 5 years old or something of that sort. You have to tell them just about your experiences, who you are, what makes you basically, stand over here at this point of time and take this interview, right? But what is making you want to basically essentially attend this program, right? So you have to tell them about your interest essentially. So I would say something like, "Hi officer, my name is Yash and I have recently found my interest to be growing in the field of whatever field that you want. For instance, I'm going to say management technology, something like that." Okay. Personally, I first came across the field when I visited my uncle's office, and he's essentially a business analyst. You can say something like that. Whatever he is, it should be related to the field. I loved the duties that he was taking care of and essentially wanted to work in the same field. So that's also why I interned with him right over there. And it basically helped me gain experience of whatever he was doing. You can say something like, okay, thing X, thing Y, thing Z, whatever his responsibilities are, right? Now that I really understand this field better, I feel like I wish to gain a deeper knowledge in this field, and that's essentially why I'm in front of you guys today, right? Something like that, end it on a positive note, and of course, move it towards the academics, move it towards the program that you're applying to. You don't have to tell them about, oh, my hobbies are dancing and singing, oh, you get the point, right? So I can't be too descriptive in this video. Of course, when we're working with clients, we work with them, we train them with the answers. I can't do that over here, unfortunately, but yeah, I can still give you the right answer to that. So that's what I'm trying to do over here. Okay, let's move on to the next question, and that is, which program are you going for? Now, again, very important, you should know the exact program name and don't give them too much information. Give them the exact information that they wanted. Just give them the program name. Let's say management of technology at Newcastle University, right? So something very short, very crisp, but very correct as well. Okay, the next thing, what is your duration of your program? Well, officer, the duration of my program is 16 months. You have to be very, very certain you know exactly what is going on. And your CES, that would help you understand the exact duration. You should memorize your CES literally at this point of time. Okay, why do you wish to study this program? Now, this question is usually pretty tricky. You have to go back to the basics. You have to help them understand exactly what really brought that passion in you, essentially why you want to work in this field, why you see a future in this field. And that's essentially what we are going to be doing over here as well. So you can say something like, as I mentioned previously, I have found my interest in this field almost about 3 years ago when I first visited my uncle's office. Since then, I have worked in this field not only in terms of the internship that I did under his office, but also I have worked with a lot of professors from my college, which were essentially not even my teachers, not my professors in my program, in my course that I took during my undergraduate, but I wanted to gain so much more expertise in that field. So I worked on various research projects under them. I also worked on building a lot of team activities in that field in the extracurricular concert that happened annually in the college. Something like that. You have to show them that yes, you have been interested and you've been kind of creating waves in that field. The more you can do that, the better, right? Show them that you have genuine interest in the field. Okay, use some technical terms wherever necessary. Use some, I'm sorry, I can't give you the actual script that we give to the clients right over here, but I have to tell you, this would be actually my answer if I was actually taking the interview right now. So this is very important. You have to understand this. All of these, I'm not using any script. I'm giving you answers directly based on my thought process. I just randomly took management technology. I'm not really from that field, but I'm trying to give you the best answers over here. As you can understand, that's essentially the kind of answer you have to provide the officer as well. Question number 5, very, very common, and this can come in 2 forms. It could be the why UK or it could be why this university. And my answer to both of these is the same, okay? And I want you to almost take the strategy to heart. It's very important that you use this. We've done this with hundreds of applicants, no rejections at all. And this is the very important question in front of you. So generally what I would do is I would stick to a particular professor. Now, I might want to do research with this professor, or I might want to work under this professor, or I might have contacted this professor. Look, mostly you have to choose a professor, okay? It's very important. And if you don't have any contact with him, don't lie usually, but you can tell them, I've read books by this professor. I want to do research on this professor. I've seen a lot of people doing it, and I know a couple of my seniors have also worked under him, and I've seen that their advancement has been phenomenal. Today, they are some of the topmost executives in XYZ company, and I feel like I want to take that path as well, because that's essentially what I have been dreaming of for the last 3 years. Something of that sort will basically get you through over here. And really, it's your point over here is not to praise a professor. Your point over here is to tell them, look, I'm not trying to get to this university or the UK only. I'm trying to get to this program and work with this professor, and there's really nothing I can do about it that this professor is in the UK, or that this professor is in this university. So I'm automatically attracted towards this university, and that's why I applied as well, essentially, in the first place. So that's the point you're trying to shed a light on. You're not trying to tell them that, oh, the UK is so great, I feel like I see myself in the UK. That's not what you're trying to do over here. You're trying to tell them exactly why you are going for this university, why you're going for the UK, why not some other country, why not your own country, because this professor is not working in my own country. That's the answer. And trust me, this answer will get you through 99.9%. I have never seen a rejection personally, so I would say it's as good as 100%, but I'll give it a little bit of false positives, etc. So just in case, yeah. Okay, cool. All right, now one thing I've also noticed is that these officers, they like to ask a lot of questions about the university in general. Questions that you could basically Google the answers to, but you can't during the interview. So they could ask something like, what's the university's location? And you have to know the exact address, you have to know the street, you have to know the PO box, you have to know these things. Trust me, they leave a very good impression on them for some reason. I don't understand that reason, but we have to do it. Next, they could ask you something like, how many credits are required to graduate from this program? You need to know the credits, man. That is the most important thing over here. You should know, okay, UK universities follow a credit-based system. My university and this program is asking me to complete 20, 25, 30 credits in a span of these many months. You should know that, okay? And when they ask you this question, give them the precise answer. Don't jump around the bush. Give them the exact answer, and that's about it. You know the answer, it's 30, just give them 30 credits. That's it, okay? Question 8, how will you be funding your education? And this is very, very important over here, guys. You actually have to have those figures. Like I said, guys, you need to know the living expenses, you need to know the tuition expenses. All of that needs to be memorized by you, by heart. After that, you can tell them, based on my cash, my tuition expenses are XYZ and my living expenses are ABC, totaling to expenses of the EF. And all of these amounts that I'm mentioning over here, they have to be in British pounds only. You don't need to mention in any other currency, okay? Then once you've quoted the amount that, yes, I know that this is the amount I'm trying to prove over here, okay? Then you move on. Now, I'm going to be sponsored by my parents, who are basically sponsoring me with their savings of XYZ British pounds. Again, British pounds is the keyword. You don't want to quote them in Indian rupees. You don't want to quote them in UAE dirhams. You don't want to quote them in any other language, US dollars. Nothing else works. Go with UK British pounds. That's essentially what you want to go with, okay? And then make sure that all of the amounts you're showing, they add up to the sum of your tuition plus living expenses. It's really as simple as that. Of course, when I'm working with clients one-on-one, it's easier to do that. As you can understand, we have the actual amounts in hand, so we can really just add them up and we can make sure that the amount, show the right kind of finances, guys. Very important. Don't show things that have fluctuating value. Not very good idea. And essentially, get your financials reviewed by someone professional if possible. We, of course, if you're going with us, if you're taking the visa application help service, we will be reviewing those for you. And trust me, that's a thorough review. So you have to get them reviewed by someone if you do not know what you're doing. Very important, okay? Moving on to the last two questions, very important, guys. These questions, so pay attention over here. They're going to ask you, what are your plans after finishing this program? And this question is almost always going to come up. Your answer to this decides whether you get the visa or not. Okay, and really the answer to this should be that yes, I plan to come back to my own country and work as an XYZ associate. A lot of my seniors have also gotten through this exact program and are now working as the XYZ associate in this company, and I personally feel like that's a route I really would wish to take for my future. So that's something that you want to go ahead with. You wanna tie that back up with your own country, your home country, that yes, I'm not going to stay in the UK. If they ask you, hey, you will have 2 years to work in the UK, would you take it? You say no, I have to come back. This is the route I have chosen for myself. So don't give them a dual intent answer over here. Very important, guys. Don't give them an answer that shows them that you will probably stick to the UK. That's not what this visa is about. Understand this. It's a trick question. They're tricking you. Even though you're getting that time, don't go with that, okay? And finally, they're gonna ask you, again, this may or may not turn up, but depending on whether you've gotten a refusal, they may ask you, do you have a visa refusal? If yes, why? Again, this question is something you have to be prepared for, and I personally cannot answer it in the video. As you can understand, it depends from person to person. We actually have to understand their case, then we have to give them an answer, right? But in general, you have to be prepared for these questions. Most of these questions I've already answered for you guys, so hopefully that gives you a lot of information about the credibility interview and the exact documents and the costs associated. All of that have been covered in this video. If you would like, I can cover a lot more when we are working in the team, when we're working with you on your visa application help. You can take a look again at the services section to go onto the visa application help page. You can see the UK part, and we'd be more than happy to help, right? Make sure you don't get rejected. It's once in a lifetime opportunity, and trust me, getting rejection makes it very, very hard for you to get the visa next time. Okay, and apart from that, if you like the content that we're putting out, please consider subscribing to the channel, and make sure to follow me on Instagram, because there's regular updates about all the visa types out there on my Instagram channel. I look forward to having you over there, and I look forward to working with you as well. All the best for your interview, and I wish you really an amazing, amazing journey going to the UK. Goodbye and take care for now.